Good morning, students. Happy Monday, and welcome to week 5 of our distant learning platform. Um, those of you that have taken this model, this platform seriously, thank you so much. Thank you also for showing up to our Zoom meetings every week. We had a birthday on Friday, so I wanted to say happy birthday to Hayden. I hope you got your birthday card. And then, of course, this week we have Frank Granda's birthday. So happy birthday, Frank. I hope you get your surprise in the mail. If you are in my period 1 class, those are my English 4 students, you guys will be continuing with Santiago's journey. And last week's reading, he had this experience. He experienced this omen in the desert. And so he saw 2 hawks attacking each other. And he also saw this image of a war. And so he knew, like, okay, this is a warning. War is coming. And what do I do with this? And so he decides to he was told by the camel driver, you've got to let the chieftains of the oasis know about your vision. And so in this next reading for this week, Santiago does make the decisions to speak to the chieftains. Keep in mind, though, there's going to be consequences because what happens if he's wrong? What happens if this vision he misunderstood or they think he's making it up? So there are consequences to him, following up on this warning. You don't get a free pass all the time. So that's really interesting. And then you also finally get to meet the alchemist. And then you kind of see the puzzle pieces fall into place and kind of like, well, wait a minute, Santiago's on this journey for his treasure. The Englishman is on his journey to meet the alchemist, and the alchemist has a role to play too. He's supposed to meet his student, and we all think, oh, he's supposed to meet the Englishman, but he's not. It's somebody else that he's supposed to meet and guide and help. And so it kind of all fits together in this next week's reading for The Alchemist. There's certain lessons. This next part of the reading has many lessons in it. It has lessons about when you give up your dreams, what the consequences are, how giving up beautiful dreams kind of leads to resentment and anger and blame, and how we end up turning all those negative feelings towards the people we love, and how sometimes that isn't fair. And so the alchemist is slowly trying to explain that to Santiago, because he's at the point where he wants to give up on his dreams of treasure. He wants to give it up for Fatima, and the alchemist is telling him, but you can't. And here's why: because you're going to end up destroying that one thing that you absolutely do love. So there's many lessons that could be applied to us in our day and time. So keep an eye out for those. There's a whole bunch in this next section of the reading. If you are in my second period class, you're my freshman students, and you are on the last 2 readings, 2 books of the Odyssey. And so last week's reading, Odysseus came back home and he revealed himself to Telemachus, and they're making plans. They're making plans to seek revenge against the suitors. And so in these next 2 books that you're going to read, one of them is, actually both of them are probably next to the Polyphemus book. They're my favorite books because there's one that's called The Test of the Bow. And so Odysseus has this bow in his hall that only he can string it. And so Penelope is kind of at her wit's end. And she creates this contest, if you will, of, well, whoever can string my husband's bow, that's the person I'm going to marry, because she doesn't know her husband's back yet, right? So the suitors are happy. They're just like, whoa, bring it on, because we're warriors. We can do this. We know how to string a bow. And they can't. They can't string it. And Telemachus, grabs it, and he's going to do it. And Odysseus, he's disguised as a beggar, kind of gives him this look like, don't you dare, because you obviously can't be a suitor, number one. And number two, if you take this away from them, they're going to kill you. They're going to publicly kill you. And so Telemachus just throws it down like, okay, I can't. But then because Odysseus is disguised as a beggar, he kind of picks up the bow and effortlessly strings it. And so then just, of course, you can imagine pandemonium breaks out. So, and then the next book is The Olive Tree. And so Penelope has just been through so much, 10 years of being under siege in her own house. And so she doesn't know who this man is that showed up, or if he's really Odysseus or not, and who is he, and does he really expect to marry me? And so he comes up to her, and she says, okay, I have to welcome you or whatever, and he's, says he's Odysseus and whatnot. And he says, well, where are you going? Because you're not really, this isn't, where are your bedrooms? And she's like, well, my bedroom. I moved my bedroom, I'm over here now. And he's like, well, where is the olive tree? And she's like, olive tree, I cut that thing down. And he freaks out. And so you don't realize like why he is so angry until you read that book and you're like, no, they built this whole home around this beautiful olive tree, and the olive tree was part of their bedroom, part of their bed. So for her to say, oh, I just changed rooms, I chopped down that old tree, don't you worry about it, he was just incensed. So that was kind of her test to him to find out, okay, is this really Odysseus? Because Odysseus would be the only person that would know that this olive tree was part of her bedroom, something that was their shared place. Okay. So I hope you enjoy those books as much as I do, because they're very graphic in, the violence. They're, kind of the loose ends all wrapped up. The people who deserve to be punished are punished. And of course, Penelope gets to test, who is this man who's claiming he's my husband? And then he also is testing her. He wants to know, did you remain true to me? So it's, it's very interesting. If you're in my American Lit class, you are continuing with Their Eyes Are Watching God. And you are going to continue with Janie and Jody Starks, which is her husband. And unfortunately, from chapter 8, you're going to read chapter 8 to chapter 12 this week. And Jody Starks passes away. And it's expected, he's sick. His organs are giving out. But it's also very sad because their relationship has been very tumultuous. They've each made sacrifices. They've given up things for the other person, and they're not in a good place. And so Jody actually thinks that Janie's poisoning him, and Janie finally seeks out a physician that tells her, no, his body's shutting down. He doesn't have that much time. So it's actually, a really sad chapter, which is chapter 8. And then there's this period of mourning, and then of course Janie meets Tea Cake, and that relationship is really interesting as well. And Tea Cake likes her as, you know, a future girlfriend, future wife, and Janie just doesn't think that's realistic because she is so much older than he is. So then they introduce Tea Cake, and you get to meet him, and you get to ride this crazy ride that's, you know, their relationship, their love that's, you know, blossoming. And then you can also compare and contrast their relationship to, you know, her previous husband, Jody Starks, that, you know, maybe this is going to be different. Maybe, you know, Tea Cake does treat her a little bit more equal than the other two men. And there's certain things that Jody does that you could say, okay, this is going to work out for Janie. Okay. And if you are in my EWRC class, you are continuing also with The Alchemist. And so you are going to continue with Santiago's journey, and you're going to meet the alchemist, and you're going to see what exactly those omens of the hawks fighting mean. Okay, so anyhow, you guys, I just wanted to say I hope you had a really good Memorial Day weekend. I hope you are continuing with your work and your studies. And seniors, it's crunch time. Please keep up your pace. We are here for you. If you need anything, call me, text me, ping me, email me, send me a direct message via Classroom. I'm here for you. Talk to you soon. Bye.